So yeah, we've talked about preparation and just the things that you can do to get ready for season as well. But like, let's really dive into like some major tips that guys could take away from us for just getting ready for deer season. It's what are we, July 8th, July 9th right now, and I feel like just past the 4th of July, that's when everybody really starts to hone in and focus on deer season. So we're ramping up for that. Like as we get closer and closer, it just builds and builds, and we're going to be going nuts here in August, just getting everything dialed in and ready to go. So what would be some of your best tips for someone getting ready for deer season over the summer or into the fall?
I think, man, like just these next, coming month or 6 weeks, like you really can't do enough, to be prepared. It's a time where, you're not going to be utilizing your free time hunting. So maximize it the best you can in getting things ready for season. I know that starts with, like we talked about already, shooting, practicing, staying dialed in with your bow, obviously, but really starting now, like you were saying, the bucks are really starting to take shape. I pulled a couple cameras today, and some bucks are still like, a little behind, but some of them are dang near full grown already. Yeah. So that's, I think, why people are starting to get really excited about it. And I know we were talking with Ty the other day about getting out and doing some velvet scouting and filming this week. And so that's always like my favorite thing to do. Obviously, you're in the field, but you're, at a vantage point far enough away where you're not disturbing things, but you're just observing the deer and figuring out the deer movement. So like summer scouting, I mean, it's a lot of fun too, because like you might have, I remember a few years back, we filmed a couple just giants that were just, 170, 180, like just hanging out together. And pretty rare when you see a couple of bucks of that caliber hanging out in the same bean field. So summer scouting, I think you can learn so much, especially if you're going to be hunting early season. We've shot a lot of our bucks early season, and a lot of that's due to summer scouting and having eyes on them, knowing what number one, what is their destination food source that time of year, but two, where are they coming from and how are they approaching it, depending on the wind, and you can kind of dial in to try to figure out where they're bedded.
Yeah, I agree. Summer scouting is huge. Putting trail cameras out, I mean, if most of us nowadays use trail cameras, whether it be just a regular trail camera or cell cam if it's legal, they play a huge part. They save you a lot of time, and you get to see a lot of things that you normally wouldn't get to see, even out there scouting. So, I mean, having those types of eyes in the woods are obviously extremely crucial. I mean, we keep a lot of trail cameras out throughout the year, but now and into August, that's when we pretty much put the entire bulk of them out and see what the bucks are doing, how they're progressing, what's living out there, and just preparing for season, kind of seeing what's where. And that all changes going into September for the most part, but at least you have a good idea of what's around there right now, and potentially have a shot at one early season.
Yeah, that's a good point. Obviously it depends on the states, and when you open up, we open in Missouri, we open up here on September 15th. Some states open September 1st, yeah. Others not till October. So when we're doing our summer scouting, we're seeing a lot of those deer kind of stick to that deal at least the first week to 10 days of season usually. Some bucks are different. They shed their velvet and completely relocate, but if you have an early archery opener, that's where the summer scouting really can pay off. And like you were saying, cell cameras have been a huge change in just being able to put cameras in places and not going in and disturbing them.
Right.
I know we had for years had certain cameras that like this camera is by the stand, and we only check it when we hunt the stand. We're not going to go in, otherwise it was too intrusive to get into. So perfect spot for a cell camera. And on the flip side, we have spots where we put trail cameras where you can drive an electric buggy or even a truck on the farm road, and it's just right off the farm road where you're not disturbing deer. So every camera setup is a little bit different on how often I think you should check it and want to check it. But the advent of cell cameras has been a huge benefit, and especially in situations on properties that are out of state or a couple hours away.
Yeah,
they've definitely been a huge help.
And then we know guys that pretty much only hunt public, and those guys during this, I mean, we're talking like super serious public land hunters. They're out there in the summertime. They're e-scouting, but they're also spending time in the field, like glassing throughout the summer evenings, just whether it be over beans or maybe open CRP, whatever, just trying to find a buck that they want to spend their time targeting, and it's pretty cool to see. That's one heck of a way to spend your summer too, is out there trying to find the buck that you don't know even exists.
Yeah. I mean, your eyes are the trail cameras at that point. And, we've done several public land hunts where you can't run, cameras, and it's like, it kind of changes your approach on things. When you already have some intel on what the deer are doing, you kind of have a pretty general idea of where you want to dive in and start hunting, then you can just jump in. But when you don't have that intel, it's like, I always like to take the outside in approach and start on the outside, whether that be from the road glassing or, hiking into certain vantage points and glassing while you're not dropping into something really good and disturbing it, and learning about the deer. And as you learn more and more, you kind of dial your plan in and get more aggressive as you go, as the conditions allow for it and the weather allows for it.
Yeah, that kind of made me think of, strategizing your hunt and hunting public land or even private, but public as well. Like, especially if you don't have the availability of using a trail camera, I feel like if I have limited amount of time and I'm hunting public, I'm going to be looking for that limited resource. And I feel like oftentimes this one's way overlooked is water. And whether it be early season when it's hot or even during the rut, like, people just kind of neglect water. And deer, just like us, they need water daily. So they're going to be hitting water. And if it's during the rut, bucks are spending countless hours on their feet, moving around, using tons of energy, dehydrated, they have to go to water. So I feel like that's just one that often gets overlooked and people should look further into, especially if they're hunting public and looking for that limited resource. Because people always think food, even us. We're always like, oh, yeah, deer got to go to food. They're going to go into food. Well, they got to have water. So
yeah, it's a lot more limited at times for sure.
Yep.
And it's especially in years like we've had lately with the late kind of summer droughts, to where a lot of the creeks dry up, and there's only certain ponds or certain reservoirs that are holding water, or out in Kansas where we've got stock tanks out there. It's a crucial resource, and it's just sometimes it is the limited resource. Sometimes food is the limited resource. So it always depends, but whatever is the most limited is usually where the deer are going to be most concentrated.
Yeah, for sure. Another one is just kind of another tip I feel like is just fine tuning your gear, making sure everything's dialed, all your bolts are tightened down on your bow, nothing's coming loose, and carrying a second release. I can remember once or twice where I've left my release, but thankfully I was close to the house and able to go back and get it. But because that's usually the first thing you do when we get to the field, is throw a release on even before we walk in sometimes, because you may run into a buck on the way there. But yeah, carrying an extra release in your bag
it's easy to leave behind. I feel like I've carried an extra release in my bag for years and not used it. Thankfully, I hadn't needed it. But I think 2 years ago in Colorado, I was turkey hunting, and I think we hunted the morning, went back to the house and shot bows, and I misplaced my release. Went back out for a late morning hunt, got on some gobblers. They're fired up, and like, we're all scrambling to set up. Here they come, And I was like, oh God, where's my release? And luckily it was in Ryan's bag. And I was like, Ryan, toss me the extra release. Ended up shooting the bird. So it saved me in that case, because we weren't anywhere close to the house at that point. So
yeah.
But yeah, just organization. I'm huge type A, like, having everything in the pack organized, not getting to the field and needing something that you don't have. So, the more organized you can be with your gear, with your preparation, with your scouting, all those details matter when it comes to hunting and bow hunting in particular.
Absolutely.